Hi, I'm Michael Feder, and I'm the founder of PrayerSpark. We are the first and only site for blessings on demand. We've gathered up spiritual leaders from all over the world in many different denominations. They are hooked up through our technology so that you can send out a request for a blessing, a prayer, or spiritual affirmation for you or for a loved one. And they get it directly to their cell phone, their computer, and they say the blessing or prayer, and it comes back to you. We code it into greeting cards or postcards, or just send it by email or text. If people buy greeting cards or postcards or make a donation, we're able to send 82% of the gross revenues directly back to the spiritual leader for their grassroots hands-on efforts in the community, which we call micro-giving on the grassroots level. So we screen our spiritual leaders very carefully for interfaith friendliness, progressive values, LGBTQ embracing, and grassroots charitable efforts. And every one of them is very carefully curated. We have taken our ability to deliver prayer and blessing on demand, if you would. And by the way, all the prayers are specially written just for PrayerSpark. They're all about 122 characters, so that when the recipient's name is added, they can be tweeted. They can be added to very small cards and flowers, so you can send get well bouquet or congratulations for the baby bouquet with a blessing. Maybe you have a Muslim friend, but you're not Muslim. You want to send a Muslim prayer to them by an email and make a little donation to their good works. So PrayerSpark enables all of that at www.prayerspark.com. We've also taken our ability to deliver those types of affirmations and prayers and created special, narrow, vertical apps in the healthcare business. My chief operating officer is a leading telemedicine physician. We've created our first app in addiction recovery in conjunction with one of the leading addiction recovery places in the United States, where we're bringing spiritual support to addiction recovery. So the 12-step program requires you to surrender to a higher power. There's 6 of the steps that mention God or a higher power, yet up to 70% of people who go into these programs have no higher power to surrender to. We're giving them those options, from a beautiful nun from Nigeria to a Wiccan leader in the United States. Everything in between, and you can reach out to that person, and that person will give you support, spiritual support, and be behind you in your recovery. We're creating apps also in occupational therapy with the leading person in spiritual support and occupational therapy in the United States, PTSD, hospice, and other key areas. We don't believe at PrayerSpark, we're not trying to say that prayer, listen, if you have a broken leg or a heart valve tear, what you need is a surgeon. But prayer works very, very well when it comes to depression, anxiety, pain. So we're bringing it and creating these apps. Our spiritual app for spiritual support in addiction recovery is a white label app. That means each addiction facility gets to have their own branding. So imagine the Betty Ford Clinic app powered by PrayerSpark. And the reason for that is we're creating a closed social silo for each addiction rehab center so that people can get support for each other before they're ready to go out and tell the outside world. A lot of people, after they've been in recovery for 10 years, are proud of it. They'll tweet it on Twitter, they'll put it on Facebook. But if you're just 2 weeks into a heroin addiction, you might not want to be telling everyone that you're in recovery for that. And so we are creating, along with each rehab facility that adopts this facility, this app, a closed, narrow social opportunity for people to support one another within the confines of that app. And each one of our apps is being created by specialists in their field to help us bring the exactly appropriate kinds of support to exactly those problems. So that's what PrayerSpark's all about. That's what our app business is all about. We're going to have a crowdfunding on Indiegogo starting at the end of the first week of November. And the purpose of it is to take the app from our small-scale introduction at this particular rehab facility and scale it across the country so that we can go from a couple thousand users to a couple million users. So hopefully you'll let people know and share it with people. Check www.prayerspark.com and our Facebook page, where we've already got 37,000 followers plus in just the first 4 months for more detail, and we certainly hope we have your support. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Will this be available for Android, iPhone?
Yes, every platform.
Desktop?
Desktop. People ask me what inspired us to do this, and what inspired us to do this was I was involved with a guy whose name is Isaac Tiger, and Isaac was the co-founder of the Hard Rock Cafe, and he then founded the House of Blues. So he's a bricks and mortar builder, and I helped with the House of Blues create the look of the Southern vernacular art. I had been involved in it in a long time, and I worked closely with Isaac. And he had an idea for a third great bricks and mortar chain, but this one was going to be based on world music, and world music and spirituality, and it was going to be called the Spirit Channel. And so I went around the world with Isaac because he asked me to be his acting chief operating officer. So I learned an awful lot about spirituality back around 2000. Well, Isaac decided to retreat from capitalism, and he lives in an ashram in India now. And so we didn't pursue it. Well, it was about 2.5 years ago, and I was watching a news feed, and it said Nelson Mandela is sick and he's in the hospital, and his supporters are asking that you pray for him. And I thought, what if there was a way that we could have people send prayer to Nelson Mandela from spiritual leaders that also did something charitable, and where it actually got delivered to him, where he was aware of the prayer. And so I was spurred by Nelson Mandela and the image of Nelson Mandela in my mind, the work I had done with Isaac and the Spirit Channel, and Isaac Tigert is now our global brand ambassador, and we're very fortunate to have him, in then creating the technology that PrayerSpark has to offer, sourcing great interfaith-friendly folks in every tradition in the world.
So you believe that intent builds. So you believe that. Do you believe that the prayers are help with the intent?
Yes, I really believe that very strongly. I think that from what we can understand, particularly in what we're very keen on doing, which is medically creating apps that help people with depression, that help people with pain management, areas that there have been clinical studies to actually show the efficacy of this sort of thing. We believe that it's very important that A, you get prayer from people who you think are really great, holy, spiritual people, people who you respect, who are doing things in the world that you respect, that you want thinking about you, and that,
so then
that are,
people
that are
that
on
you
your
would
team,
not normally be able to
that you would
get
not normally
them
be
from.
accepted. Because here's the thing, back in the day, if you wanted to take anthropology, you'd have to take it from the professor who taught 101, no matter whether they were great or not. TED Talks, that's revolutionized our ability to meet great people and to hear their lectures. So PrayerSpark is sort of freeing you from the tyranny of place. There may be nobody within that 10-mile circle around your house that you can reach, and you're now going to be able to reach an Australian Aboriginal spiritual leader, whom we have, who literally the prayer goes out to her in the Australian Aboriginal rainforest, and she says a prayer that dates back 50,000 years for you in real time, and that prayer comes back and helps you with your issues, with your recovery. It goes out to your friend.
How do people pay for this?
Sending prayer is free.
Okay.
People can make donations. They can read about the person and what they're doing, and hopefully they will make a donation. Or if they buy stuff, if they decide, hey, I want that prayer, I want to send Mom a Mother's Day card, and my mother is an Episcopalian and I'm not, but we have a wonderful Episcopalian spiritual leader, and I'm going to have an Episcopalian reverend, minister, say a prayer for her, and that gets coded into the greeting card. That's $4.99 suggested donation. And we fulfill it completely, stamp it, send it, and everything. And we take 82% of our gross revenues and give it back to the spiritual leader for their good works.
So that's actually better than a Hallmark card.
Oh yeah, there's no comparison. And it makes us, even though we are a for-profit business, it makes us one of the most efficient charitable vehicles of giving that there are, because none of our spiritual leaders give it to a charity. They are the charity. They use it for their good works in their grassroots communities. And just a small amount of money goes a long way in many of the communities in which our spiritual leaders are working.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.